Alright guys, we are gonna be reacting to Russia, the coldest place on earth, a 4K travel documentary. Thank you so much for the support, guys. We're gonna simply jump in here and see what's going on. Again, I have to say thank you so much. We're heading to the 50,000 subscribers. If you want, just simply put a stop before you watch the video. Subscribe to the channel, like and comment. My goal is to get to the 100,000 subscribers. We're almost there, halfway through. It's a great goal. First time ever in my life that I just got this far on YouTube. I've been doing this for almost 10 years. It's not easy, but I really appreciate it. We're gonna react to more Russian stuff, guys. And for more videos like this, just recommend it in the comment section below. For now, let's jump in. Whoa. We'll start like that, okay? Okay. It's a documentary, but I don't know how documentary it is.
This country on Earth stretches across 11 time zones, touching both Europe and the Pacific.
Okay. Yeah, Russia has a beautiful landscape. Beautiful landscape.
In Siberia, winters can plunge to 70 degrees, while in the south, summers climb above 100 degrees.
Degree? What? Degrees?
It's a land of extremes. Few other places can imagine golden deserts surrounded by snow volcanoes, still alive with fire, and Lake Baikal, the deepest lake on the planet,
Thank you, baby.
holding nearly 1/5 of all the world's fresh water.
Beautiful landscape, man.
Nowhere else do opposites collide so fiercely. Ice and fire, east and west, ancient tradition and modern speed.
Not only that, it seems like, well, Russia still practices a lot of the pagan traditions. I guess it comes back from being a Scandinavian kind of country as well. So
Moscow is the cradle of Russian power. From the 14th century, the Grand Duchy of Moscow grew into a mighty empire. Inside the Kremlin, Tsars once ruled and left their mark. Ivan IV, known as Ivan the Terrible, was the first to wear the crown of Tsar of all Russia here, laying the foundation for
what we know
autocratic
today
and centralized state. He also ordered the construction of St. Basil's Cathedral, with its onion-shaped domes like flames turned to stone on Red Square to commemorate his victory over Kazan. Through the centuries, Moscow has been more than a political capital. It became a symbol of rebirth after the Mongol and Tatar invasions. After Napoleon set the city on fire in 1812, and even after the bombing of the Second World War, each time this heart came back to life. Deep underground, the metro system built by Stalin in the 1930s is still called the People's Palace. Chandeliers of crystal light up marble walls like a statement of power. Moscow today is both ancient and alive, pulsing with the rhythm of a 21st century megacity.
100%. 100%.
The history of Russia cannot be told from Moscow alone.
What do you mean?
In 1703, Peter the Great built a new city on the Neva River, a gateway to Europe. This was St. Petersburg, the capital of Russia, for more than 2 centuries.
Oh.
Peter wanted Russia to turn its gaze westward, and this city embodied that vision. Under the Romanovs, St. Petersburg became a center of politics, culture, and art. The Hermitage, the Winter Palace of Catherine the Great, was not only a royal residence, but also one of the greatest art collections in the world.
Wow.
Summer's white nights gave the city a dreamlike glow, echoing the poetry of Pushkin and the
Sorry
novels of
about that.
Dostoevsky. For this, St. Petersburg is often called the soul of Russia.
Mm. Well, clearly, St. Petersburg has more that Western influence in their architecture as well. So that makes sense.
Shouting romantic, but also scarred by history. From the revolution of 1917 to the political storms that followed.
Gorgeous.
Not far from the city, the grandeur of the Russian Tsars still shines in palaces. Peterhof, the Versailles of the North, was built by Peter the Great to place Russia firmly on Europe's map, with hundreds of fountains flowing through French-style gardens. And then before you stands Catherine Palace, stretching like a ribbon of blue and
Wow.
white under the sun. White columns frame golden windows, making the whole facade sparkle as if wrapped in sunlight. Step through the great doors, and
Wow.
you are overwhelmed by a sea of gold. Walls, ceilings, mirrors, and chandeliers reflect each other until the space glows like a royal dream. At last, you pause before the amber room. Panels of amber glow like frozen fire in shades of brown, orange, and gold, as if a sunset has been captured forever in stone. Touch it lightly, and you might imagine warmth still lingering from a distant afternoon. In this room, beauty
That's
feels
gorgeous.
eternal,
Wow.
as though you are face to face with the secret of time itself.
Wow. Look at those paintings.
At the far eastern edge of Russia, reaching out to the Pacific Ocean, lies the Kamchatka Peninsula, a place that feels untouched by time.
Yeah, the volcanoes are very active though.
Volcanoes breathe smoke into the sky, while snow blankets the ground, creating a scene both fierce and dreamlike. In white smoke and bright red lava against the blue sky. Here fire and ice exist side by side. It is home to the mighty brown bear, one of the largest bears on Earth. A grown male can weigh nearly 800 kilograms and stand taller than 10 feet. These giants walk calmly along rivers, waiting for crimson salmon to fight their way upstream. With one swift strike of a massive paw, a bear pulls a fish from the white torrent of a waterfall. It is a moment of raw power and grace, a reminder that this land still belongs to the wild, and humans are only humble visitors.
And not only that, you guys like to just be one-on-one with bears, which I really don't understand. I'm like, bears are so dangerous.
This is Lake Baikal, the deepest freshwater lake in the world, plunging more than 5,000 feet. It stretches like a vast mirror of deep blue. In winter, when the surface freezes, cracks in the ice release sounds that echo across the landscape like songs rising from the earth itself. The Buryat people say the lake is alive. They tell a legend of the Angara River, the only river that flows out of Baikal. In their tale, Baikal is an old and stern father who had a beautiful daughter named Angara. She fled to join her beloved, the Yenisei. In anger, Baikal hurled a giant stone to block her path. That stone, known today as Shaman Rock, still stands as a reminder of their forbidden love. Each ripple on the lake seems to whisper the story again. Baikal is also a unique kingdom of life. Its most famous resident is the Nerpa, the only freshwater seal on Earth. No one knows exactly how their ancestors came to be here. Surrounded by mountains and endless taiga forests, yet they have adapted to the icy waters with astonishing skill. Their thick silver-gray coats hide them beneath the ice, and their large black eyes glimmer in the depths. In winter, they carve breathing holes through the frozen surface to survive. They give birth and raise their young on drifting ice, enduring conditions that few other creatures could withstand. Their main food is the golemyanka, a strange, transparent fish that looks like glass and lives in the lake's deep waters. Along with hundreds of other species of fish shrimp and tiny creatures, it forms a web of life unlike anywhere else. Above the surface, migratory birds arrive with the seasons, while reindeer move
So that's the
silently
wildlife
through the
in Russia.
snow-covered
Wow.
taiga.
There's real wildlife over there, man.
Together they weave a layered portrait of nature that is both harsh and full of vitality.
This is the most Russian thing I have seen so far.
This land still hides sights so rare they feel almost impossible. The Lena pillars rise like towering sentinels above the river, a stone army guarding the skies. In Kara Sands, surrounded on all sides by snow-capped peaks, a golden desert suddenly appears, a contradiction so strange it leaves travelers speechless. And in Stolby, the forest of stone nature has carved massive pillars that draw adventurers year after year, each one eager to test their strength against the rocks. It begins with the Road of Bones, a highway cutting across the frozen wilderness of Kolyma. At first glance, it is only a strip of asphalt stretching for thousands of miles. But beneath the frozen earth
Wow.
lie the remains of tens of thousands of Gulag prisoners. They were sent here in the
Whoa, what?
1930s, forced into labor camps to mine
Okay.
gold and build roads in brutal conditions. Winters dropped to 50 degrees below zero. Food was scarce. Disease spread unchecked. So many perished that bodies could not be buried properly.
Oh
Instead,
my God.
they were laid into the permafrost beneath the very road they were building. That is why this highway is known as the Road of Bones. Even today, as vehicles pass over its surface, travelers feel a chill. For every mile is a
There's probably a lot of ghosts there too, huh? Ugh.
silent grave,
Lot
a
of ghosts.
reminder of lives broken
Ooh.
and history buried just beneath
It's
the
gorgeous,
wheels.
man. Wow.
And yet amid this land of tragedy, monuments still stand as symbols of resilience. The Tobolsk Kremlin, the only stone fortress in Siberia, was built in the 17th century, when the region was still a frontier. Its white walls have endured centuries of snow and wind. Its bell tower still rings across the taiga. It seems to declare that humans can be tested, but never entirely defeated. To bind these vast spaces together Russians built something even greater, the Trans-Siberian Railway.
Damn, man. The endurance of these people is
This
insane.
steel ribbon stretches nearly 9,300 kilometers, crossing 8 time zones from Moscow all the way to Vladivostok. Board the train today, and through the window, the landscapes unfold. Endless steppe dark taiga, the blue expanse of Lake Baikal. The ride feels like a journey through time itself, from scars of the past to the resilience of the present, from darkness into light.
Wow.
With one foot in Asia and the other in Europe, and you are standing on the Ural Mountains.
Ooh.
This natural border stretches across the horizon, not towering in height, but endless in length.
Not only that, it's just that, yeah, Russia has a little bit of the Asian culture going on as well in the Pacific region. But you still have a lot of Europeans in that region because of the migration from the Ukrainians. So that's interesting as well.
Within its stone veins, a wealth of minerals that has fueled Russia's economy for centuries.
The minerals.
Russians call it the nation's backbone of stone, a landmark that ties together East and West. But the Urals are more than treasure. They are also home to mysteries that chill the imagination. The most famous is the Dyatlov Pass incident of 1959. 9 young hikers lost their lives under circumstances that remain unsolved. Their tent was found slashed open from the inside. Their bodies carried strange injuries. Some were discovered in the snow, with little or no clothing. For more than half a century, theories have ranged from avalanches to secret weapons tests, even whispers of the supernatural. Yet the truth remains buried in the silence of the mountains, turning Dyatlov Pass into one of the world's most haunting enigmas. Not far from these mountains lies Yekaterinburg, a city that has grown into a modern industrial hub straddling the line between Europe and Asia.
It's right there in the middle, right? Look at that.
Behind its vibrant streets, however, lies a chapter of Russian history written in tragedy.
Wow.
In 1918, Tsar Nicholas II and his family were executed here,
What?
bringing an end to more than 3 centuries of Romanov rule. Today, Yekaterinburg is both young and energetic, yet
Man,
also
some of the
solemn,
history,
drawing visitors
hey.
who come to stand where an empire fell. The Urals are therefore more than a geographic frontier. They are a frontier of memory, where one can touch both the divide of 2 continents and the deep shadows of Russian history. Amidst the upheavals of history, faith has always been the thread that binds and sustains Russia. At the Sergiev Posad Monastery, the sound of bells from the golden towers resonates throughout the space, mingling with the scent of incense and the flickering light of candles, casting a glow on the time-worn sacred paintings. This solemn atmosphere makes this place one of the most important spiritual centers of Russian Orthodoxy. In ancient towns like Suzdal and Novgorod, the blue, golden, or silver-gray domes have stood tall for centuries. Even though the brick walls have cracked and the tiled roofs have collapsed, the churches continue to resonate with prayers.
Intact.
The locals view these structures as a repository of collective memory, a place where the past and present meet in the same space. In Kazan, along the Volga River,
Man, fishing has to be fun here too. Fishing?
the scenery holds special significance. An Orthodox church, and a mosque coexist on the same skyline. From the Kazan Kremlin, one can simultaneously hear the church bells and the call to prayer from the mosque. This city has become a symbol of religious harmony where two major traditions exist together and complement each other rather than oppose one another.
This is more like cultural. They're aligned.
Kalmykia presents another surprise. In the heart of Europe lies a Buddhist capital. The city of Elista stands out with its golden temples, the sound of chanting, and the spinning prayer wheels.
Oh.
The Kalmyk people, descendants of Mongolian nomads, brought Buddhism to this land and made it a solid part of the religious landscape in Russia. On Lake Ladoga, Valam Monastery emerges like a sacred oasis. The white walls reflect on the calm water, and the sound of hymns resonates in the stillness, creating a sense of separation from the everyday world. Here, faith is expressed not through ostentation, but through a quiet, profound presence. Over the centuries, borders may change, dynasties may fall, and wars may sweep away entire eras, but faith endures. It flows like an underground stream.
Correct.
Sometimes calm, sometimes rushing, but always serving as a spiritual anchor for the Russian people throughout their historical journey.
That's true. Good point. Good point. Faith is always there. Faith is always there.
Russia is home to religious traditions that reveal the strength of faith in ways few other places can.
Correct.
One of the most striking is the Orthodox celebration of Epiphany, observed each year on January 19th. On this day, millions of believers make their way to frozen rivers and lakes across the vast land. Priests bless the waters, carve crosses out of ice, and prepare the faithful for a test of both body and spirit. One by one, worshippers step down into the water. They submerge themselves 3 times, honoring the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Each plunge is an act of courage, a ritual of purification,
Wow.
and a moment of devotion. In the bitter cold, sometimes reaching 20 or 30 degrees below zero, the sight is both severe and profoundly moving.
You have to give it to them, man. Wow.
It captures the resilience of people who have lived for centuries in close company with winter. This ritual is so deeply woven into Russian culture that even national leaders have taken part.
I think Putin did it, right? I think Putin did one where there was fire in wood and he just stepped on it or something like that. I don't know. This is crazy. Yeah, there we go.
In 2018, President Vladimir Putin entered the icy waters of Lake Seliger, about 220 miles northwest of Moscow. Before the watching priests and sacred icons,
Wow.
he lowered himself into the water 3 times, following the same tradition as ordinary believers. For many, this annual plunge is far more than an act of endurance. It is a cultural practice filled with symbolism, a reminder of how faith and tradition continue to shape Russian identity. How do you see this ritual? Do you feel it still carries meaning today?
100%.
Or is it simply a tradition whose
we don't talk about this, but the spiritual act, the spiritual realm is so important for our society. It's so important. We always have very bad thoughts that can just drive us from being human to animals and act like animals. And the spiritual asset is what distinct or make a distinction between both realms.
Necessity you might question.
So important. That was very good. Good session.
Sochi is located on the shores of the Black Sea, distinguished by its rare subtropical climate in Russia. In the summer, the beaches are bustling with sunshine and crashing waves. In the winter, just a short distance away, visitors can ski on the slopes of the Caucasus Mountains. This city was once the host of the Winter Olympics in 2014, featuring a modern infrastructure blended with seaside resorts. Leaving behind world-class venues alongside its seaside charm. Farther north stands Mount Elbrus, the highest peak in Europe. Rising more than 5,600 meters above sea level, this dormant volcano has become a symbol of human ambition. Climbers from around the world gather here to test themselves against the bitter cold and thin air, all for the chance to stand at the summit where Europe and Asia seem to gaze together at the same sky.
Gorgeous, man. Wow. Damn, man. Yo, look at that mountain back. You guys see that? Look at that. Wow, that's insane, man. That is insane. Unbelievable how nature can make something like that.
But not every corner of the Caucasus offers a warm welcome. In the green valleys of North Ossetia lies Dargavs, known as the City of the Dead. Hundreds of stone crypts, each with sharp peaked roofs, stand side by side. Legend says that in times of plague, entire families were laid to rest here.
Wow.
Locals believe that to step inside is to cross into the world of the departed. Cold and mysterious Dargavs is a somber note in the symphony of the Caucasus. Travel east to the shores of the Caspian Sea, and you arrive in Derbent, the oldest city in Russia. Ancient Persian walls still guard the narrow pass between mountains and sea. For thousands of years, armies and empires have marched through these gates, leaving their mark on the crossroads of civilizations. Today, Derbent is a living reminder of how Russia has always stood at the meeting point between East and West. From the Black Sea, cross the Caucasus and travel more than 1,000 kilometers north, and you reach the Volga, the legendary river of Russia. Golden wheat fields and historic towns stretch along its banks. The Volga has always been
That's
more than
crazy.
water.
Look at that.
It feeds the people, but it also nourishes the soul. In
What is
Russian
that?
songs, in poems, in paintings, the river appears as a gentle mother, eternal and life-giving. Its waters are also home to the sturgeon, the source of caviar, one of Russia's most famous cultural symbols. To the Russian heart, the Volga is not just a river. It is identity itself. This is Russia's Golden Ring, a chain of medieval towns surrounding Moscow, each one preserving a different chapter of the nation's story. In Novgorod, the stones underfoot and the fortress walls above seem to breathe with age. The silver domes of St. Sophia Cathedral have stood for nearly 1,000 years, and when the bells ring, the sound feels less like an echo and more like a voice carried across centuries. Suzdal feels even more timeless. Fewer than 10,000
So this is, again, one of those things, a city inside the city.
people live here, yet the skyline bristles with churches and monasteries.
Yo, this is a
In
good
winter,
documentary, man.
horse-drawn sleighs glide past onion-domed chapels, half buried in snow. In summer, wildflowers spill across fields and stone walls built centuries ago. Suzdal was once expected to become Russia's spiritual capital, but it was bypassed when the railroads came. Because of that, it remains frozen in time, no neon signs, no shopping malls, just silence, history, and beauty. Head north and the landscape shifts. On the island of Kizhi, in the middle of Lake Onega, a wooden church rises with 22 silver domes built without a single nail. Its silhouette catches the light shimmering like metal, though it is carved from wood. Nearby at Ruskiala, an abandoned marble quarry has filled with water, becoming a turquoise canyon where sheer cliffs reflect in glassy pools. Push even farther into the Arctic Circle, and you arrive at Murmansk, the largest city this far north. Icebreakers leave its harbor to carve paths through frozen seas, but the true spectacle is in the sky. When the northern lights sweep across the horizon in waves of green and violet, the snow below glows as if lit from within. In that eerie glow, herds of reindeer
and shout out to the music,
move quietly across the tundra, turning the Arctic. Push even farther into the Arctic Circle, and you arrive at Murmansk, the largest city this far north. Icebreakers leave its harbor to carve paths through frozen seas, but the true spectacle is in the sky.
Now, why it looks so gloomy like this? I know it's kind of cold, okay? Probably it's the cold weather, right? But how's the pollution in Russia? I haven't asked that question. Let me know in the comment section below how well or how low the pollution is in Russia.
When the northern lights sweep across the horizon in waves of green and violet, the snow below glows as if lit from within. In that eerie glow, herds of reindeer move quietly across the tundra, turning the Arctic into a living legend. Thank you for joining me on this journey across Russia.
Great documentary, man. One of the best. One of the best so far. One of the best. It did justice. It did justice. Great documentary. I mean, let me know what you guys think, but this was very good. I know this was in English. I have English speakers and I have Russian speakers, but this is what I'm talking about. Content like this, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I would love to hear you guys' opinions. I'll see you in the next one.